What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to the Diablo Research Institution. Appreciate you guys for coming by. Like this damn video if you will. Subscribe to the page. And swap that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And blessings to my patrons. May you have many wives. Links in the description below. So basically, Diablo 4. The state of things. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comments. I think there are at least 5 things that could be changed for Season 5, which is coming up. It's going to be a short season. And then, of course, the expansion already, right? Vessel of Hatred. To be in competition, perhaps, with Path of Exile 2. Yeah, and I'm quite pleased that Path of Exile 2 is coming out. Because that's going to definitely incentivize, I think, Blizzard to put a lot of work into their current game. So I've been having a pretty good time with Diablo 4. But there's just some things that are so hard to accept when it comes to why the hell did they do this? You know, how could they have missed this? You know what I'm saying? Like, to some extent, it makes me wonder, who did they hire to be the game developers here? Are these just a bunch of fat bitches who used to play Candy Crush or something? And they don't even have any ARPG experience? I don't know. It's kind of difficult to tell. But I can't help but ask such questions. It seems reasonable, you know? It's okay to ask questions. But thing number 1 that I think should be changed for Season 5. Now, these are big things, alright? So, brace yourself. Chill out with the damage multipliers, alright? Here's what I'm talking about. You know how we can temper stuff on our gear? Which is a debatable topic in and of itself, right? A lot of crybabies out there. Just really tired of bricking their items. To an extent, I can understand that. But there has to be some risk if there's going to be a reward, alright? But that's not what this point is about. You see how, for example, I tempered 100% ice spike damage. That's a big freaking number. And then you can do it on your sword. You can do it on your offhand. You can do it on your ring. You can do it on your amulet. And all of a sudden, your ice spike damage vastly exceeds everything else that you do. So you can cast other skills and all that, but they're doing complete ass damage. And it's very non-immersive when this goes on. I don't know why they came to terms with it like this. It's just, it boggles my mind as to how they released the game like this. And this is Season 4, and they thought this was a good idea. Now, it's fun. There can be some aspect of fun to it, right? Where you buff up a certain skill, and then all of a sudden that skill's doing just a ton of damage. But here's the problem. Is all the other builds and things of that sort, they just start to scale away. And they become more and more irrelevant and incapable when you're working with these big numbers. And they're the multipliers, you know what I mean? They just far exceed all the other builds than when you do this. So, why do they have to have such big numbers? Why can't we just have, like, plus 10 or 15% ice spike damage? And then your ice spikes are going to do okay damage, but your other skills are going to be acceptable as well. You know what I mean? And I think that'll allow for more build variety and all that, but it's a big deal when they make these numbers so big like they are. Because things just scale exponentially, and it just leaves everything else in the dust. And then it ends up being that we're all just running the same damn builds that are super powerful, and all the other builds are just left in the dust. So I think if they were to balance that out, it'll allow for more build diversity. And I think that would be a good idea. Point number 2. Or thing number 2. Tempering. So I know that a lot of you out there are bitching about tempering. A lot of you want to have like infinite tempers or something, or you want to like have a material that you can use to untemper your item, then you can temper it again, or you want to be able to use gold for it, and then of course you can just buy the gold from all the bots and use your credit card and then just keep retempering your item until it's perfect, and say that you tempered a perfect item then and just show it off to all your friends or whatever. But I don't think that's a good idea, because it's going to take away from the risk and reward process, you know what I mean? And then there's just going to be a paywall, because unfortunately in Diablo 4 you can buy gold with real money, and it's just going to be a real money chase to have a perfectly tempered item, basically. There has to be some risk, but here's what I think they should do. And I think if you guys hear me out on this, you're going to agree with me on it. So for the categories, for example, when you go up to the blacksmith and you want to temper an item. Let's get me out of here for just a minute. Let's get me out of here for just a minute. I know you guys want to see me, but... Okay, so you go to frost augments, for example. You see how it's all split up? Well, that's a bad example. Here's one. Shock augments. You see how it's all split up? Like, there's different skills. You got spark, you got chain lightning, you got charge bolts, you got ball lightning. So the problem is, you just temper and temper and temper, and you're trying to get the ball lightning, for example, but then you just keep missing it, right? What they should do is break this down into skills, where you have, like, ball lightning augments, blizzard augments, and so then, say you don't get the augment you want, for example, but you would still get an augment that helps your build, you know what I mean? Like for the blizzard augments, blizzard size, or blizzard damage, or ice shard blizzard from damage from blizzard. You know, you can have all those as role possibilities, but they're all condensed into the blizzard skill. Then you might not get the role that you necessarily want or need, but you'll still get something that helps your build. You see what I'm saying? And it'll help propel that item chase still. Or they could just give us more rolls, maybe 10 rolls, maybe double the rolls of what it's at right now. But I don't think just putting like a gold wall there or a materials wall there just to untemper your item and just keep going, I just don't think that's a good idea. I think there has to be some risk and some reward. Like in Path of Exile, for example, or Project Diablo 2, which is what I played. You can find these orbs of corruption, right? And you put your item, you apply the orb of corruption to your item, and it has a 25% chance to completely brick the item. But then there are a lot of other possibilities where you can potentially get a really, really good item. See, and that's what adds to the allure. If you could just keep corrupting the damn thing until you get the roll you want, then you're just going to do it with all your gear and just going to quit. There has to be some risk and reward and some luck. That's what these games are all about. But let me know what you guys think about that. I know that one, not all of you are with me on that one. Yeah, tempering has been quite a deal. And apparently they listen when people bitch. Like with the Uber items, how they used to be really rare, and now, if you work hard enough, you can just craft the damn thing. More stash tabs. It's not a huge point, but it's a point nonetheless. I just don't think this is enough. Yeah, we need more stash tabs. And this is another thing that just makes me question, who the hell is behind this project? Why aren't there more stash tabs that we can just buy? Does this company not want our money? You know, who the hell's running this? Why can't I just pay money and buy a couple more stash tabs? I just don't get it. I mean, they're trying to sell us shit left and right with the cosmetics and all that, and selling us the expansion already months before it's due, and it was rushed, you know, and they're trying to sell it for a crazy price. Why can't we buy stash tabs? It just doesn't make any sense. Because I'd buy them, especially if they roll over season to season. But yeah, I think we need more stash tabs. Here's another thing. And this one is a big, big deal. All right? And it's shocking that they didn't implement this in the game. It should have been on release, and it's still not here, which is just absurd. And that's what makes me wonder. Who developed this game? Have they even played Diablo before? Have they even played a game in this genre before? Or are these just a bunch of fat bitches who played Candy Crush over the past decade? And they're all hired in. Because that's the only thing that really makes sense here. Because why else would there not be a loot filter on release? And not only on release, but what about seasons 1, 2, and 3? Where's the loot filter then? And then 4, where's the loot filter? Here's the problem. For those who don't think it's a big deal. Because I brought this up in a previous video. And a few of you were like, well, hey, Iceman, we don't really need a loot filter. Just don't pick up the stuff that you don't want, Iceman. Or, hey, Iceman, yeah, I agree. Yeah, we don't pick up rares or magics or the white items anymore. None of us pick up that shit. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Iceman. But just don't pick it up. Just leave it on the ground. That's the solution, Iceman. You don't need a loot filter. Here's why that opinion's bullshit. You want to know what happened to me the other day? 2 nights ago, when I was running Tormented Ubers with some of my homies. Shackle fell, alright? My first Uber unique that I found. Was very pleased. I still need to masterwork this thing. Which brings me to another point. Why the hell is there not a different color beam that signifies an Uber unique drop? Why aren't they a different color on the map? People just sell this shit to the merchants not realizing they're Uber uniques. You know? Then they miss out on the little crafting material or whatever. So that is just... that's another reason why I'm wondering who did this? You know, who made this game? Because anyone who's played Diablo for like 100 hours would have been able to implement these very fundamental and basic things upon release. You know, but here we are, Season 4, a year plus in, and this shit's non-existent in the game still. So that was another thing, is give us an indicator that it's an Uber unique. But here's why we need a loot filter. Because you'd say, well, Iceman, just don't pick up the yellows. Just don't pick up the blues. Just don't pick up the whites. Only pick up Greater Affix legendary items. Iceman, that's what I do. The reason why that is bullshit, it's the same reason why it's bullshit in Diablo 2. And which boggles me as well as to why the hell is there no loot filter in Diablo 2 Resurrected. It makes me wonder the same folks making that game who's made this game. When I was fighting the Ubers a couple nights ago, all the shit falls on the ground, right? And then you use Alt or whatever to highlight it. My inventory is full. Because we killed the Ubers, I don't even know how many times. We killed it once, killed again, killed again. And my inventory, they're just shit's just falling everywhere. Which is probably another problem. Is there's just too much shit falling all over the place. So I'm like picking it all up, right? Because I know these guys are going to want to spawn the Ubers again. So I got to hurry up here. You know, when I'm picking up all the junk, I'm like, oh shit, I got to look at it. Do I want this aspect? Oh, here's a greater affix on this one. I could use this on my Necromancer. You know, there's just all this sorting. But you know what happened? There was a couple of uniques on the ground that I couldn't even see. Like, there's all the legendaries, right? And all the little beams sticking up all over the place, and then a couple rares. The screen was so full of shit that the highlighting of the items wouldn't even show a couple uniques. There were a couple uniques in the mix there, and I didn't even see them. I was like, okay, I'm about to reset the dungeon. Okay, I guess I got everything. I swear I thought there was a unique in here, but no, all I see are legendaries. You couldn't even see the damn beam for the unique. Because it was covered by all the legendary uniques, or legendary beams. So much shit on the ground. That's why we need a loot filter. Because there are instances where you can't even see the damn thing on the ground anymore, because there's just so much stuff on the ground. Alright? So you can't tell me, Iceman, just pick up the greater affix items and leave the other shit on the ground. That's what I do. You can't tell me that, because it just doesn't make any sense. You know, it's inexcusable. Why isn't there a loot filter? This is bullshit. It doesn't matter if you want one or not. There needs to be one. Because things like that happen. And it would just simplify things, you know? Like, you could tweak it. You could say, don't show me the white items in there. Don't show me the yellow items. It's all bullshit anyway, you know? And that's another thing. Yeah, they do need to bring some value to the whites and the rares and the magics. But, yeah, that's too much to ask at this point. There's 2 more points. The last is very, very, very important. But I just... I don't know what you guys are going to say. I mean, the problem is there's a difference from what people need and what they want, all right? So what a lot of you guys are demanding, some of you. You're demanding what you want, all right? But that's not what you need. What you need is something far different. I know what you need. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. That's going to be the last point. But the point before that one, add a damn color beam to the Uber Unique so we know when an Uber Unique falls. And buff the damn Uber Unique. So I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of just trying to force myself to use an Uber Unique just because it sounds cool, you know? Like, if I bust my ass finding a super rare item, I want it to maybe have some intrinsic value to it in terms of buffing my character, you know? Because we're just not really getting that. Like, there's a Tyrael Smite, it has that cute little explosion thing that barely does any damage. Come on, buff that up, you know, make it do more damage. Give it more sockets, let us temper it or something. Give it another stat that can also roll greater affix, who knows? Buff them a little bit. To where they'll cater to certain builds, you know, to where there might be one Uber Unique that's like best in slot for your build. But not where, like, just you're going to be full of Uber Uniques and that's it. But have, like, one Uber Unique that, like, helps with, like, a Summon Necro or something. Or one Uber Unique that helps, like, a Blizzard Sorcerer, for example. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so last point. And this is the one that it pains for me to say it. Because I know that people are just going to bitch and bitch. And they're probably going to get what they want. And then they're going to quit. Because that's just how it goes. And then we're going to have to wait to play Path of Exile 2. Because they know how to make games. Those guys are real fucking dorks who work on Path of Exile. So they know how to make a good game. You know, they got mathematicians, engineers, and all that shit. So they're going to be making a good game. But I'm just a little concerned. You know, that's what this video is all about. Is just me pointing out my concerns. All right. So if you guys will like this damn video, hit the like button. Comment below your thoughts on these matters. But okay, the last point. I just don't want to say it because I know I said it before, alright? And they did good for a minute, but then they gave in. But they didn't do it right necessarily, but they experimented with the topic. You gotta have chase items. And by chase items, I don't mean just an item with, you know, 3 greater affixes instead of 2 that just gives you a little bit more damage. No, that's not what I mean by chase item. The problem is with these games is they start just giving everybody what they want. You know, they just throw all the stuff to your character. So what the difference between your average common player and like one who plays all the time are just like little numbers, you know? Like you could work really hard and just make your numbers just a little bit higher. That's not really fun. What's fun is how it was in Diablo 2, for example, where you could play this game for hundreds of hours, for thousands of hours, and you could still potentially find something that's going to boost your character like this, and not just like little tiny boosts from working hard, but you could potentially find like a Burr rune, for example, or a Jaw rune and make Enigma. And all of a sudden, you're not just making tiny little gains with Enigma. No, you could now teleport all over the place, you know? No matter what character you are, you can just tell. All of a sudden, there's like this boom, this massive thing. So that's what keeps you playing. But there's no items like that here. You can just find something with the greater affix, just the numbers are a little higher. You know, that's the only thing to chase for. And that's just not fun. You gotta have the chase items that are game changing and like mechanic changing. Not just ones that just make your numbers just a little tiny bigger. A little teeny tiny bit bigger, you know what I mean? That's not the fun thing to chase. It's not fun to chase just slightly bigger numbers. It's fun to chase things that give you like some big euphoric high. And that's why maybe it would be a good thing to introduce runes. But here's the problem, is I know that if they introduce runes, what everyone's going to do is they're just going to bitch because they're going to be so rare. They'd be like, I just want to make the rune word. I want to make the enigma. I want to make the infinity rune. Or please, I'm going to quit if you don't just give me them. And then they're probably just going to give them to everybody. And that's where there's a difference between what you need and what you want. Because the thrill is the hunt, all right? It's not the getting all the gear and just being done and not having shit to do anymore. The thrill is the hunt. All right? Some games understand this. I think that Path of Exile does. Those guys behind Path of Exile. Because don't they have like those really rare mirror items or something? And the original Diablo 2 guys had it figured out as well. They have the runes. They have like Enigma, Infinity, where all of a sudden if you get an Infinity, your numbers just don't get a little tiny bit bigger. That's not what happens when you make Infinity, no. All of a sudden, your Lightning character can like kill everything in the game, and they can go and farm places that they used to not be able to farm. Or if you have Enigma, all of a sudden, you can teleport over the damn place no matter what character you are. You know, it's like it's this really exciting thing to look forward to. And right now, there's nothing like that in Diablo 4. So they're going to have to just do it. They're going to have some rare items that don't just make your numbers a little bigger, but rare items that change the way you play in the mechanics. Where you could see somebody out in the open world, not that we ever go out there, or fighting Ubers, or in the Helltides, wherever, you could see somebody, and you'd be like, whoa, they have that item, because they're doing that, and not everybody's doing that. You know what I mean? That's where the allure is, but there's more to say on this topic. But I gotta end the video. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments, what do you think needs to be changed for Season 5 Diablo 4? What do you want to see added to this? And are you with me on my points? I'll see you tomorrow. Peace be with you.